Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review of Youjo Senki episode 7. And this week I feel like pretty much, for the past week, all the chapters and episodes of everything that I've been covering, I've given 9.5s to essentially everything, where I've been like, oh man, it was so close to perfect, but I don't really want to give it a perfect score. And at the risk of repeating myself, yeah, I feel sort of that way. Just to start off, I feel sort of that way about this episode. It was really, really good. It was definitely worth the week off wait for them to do whatever went wrong with production, because for me, this might be my favorite episode so far. It was really enjoyable, and to me it had the best action sequences so far, and the best strategy in the combat as well. So I think that's what I liked most about it. Also, for this review, a bit of a profanity warning, because I will probably say quite often that Anson and the Entente Alliance got fucked. They were completely shit on. They had no chance here. But just to talk about this a bit part by part, we have this girl Mary leaving the Entente by ship, and then we see Anson Su, who is the guy from the episode 2 attack, apparently, that we saw at the end of the last episode, that I was like, I don't recognize him. It's easy to see why I didn't recognize him, in my opinion. Most of the characters look very, very similar to me still. I'm starting to recognize, some of the side characters, like Eric's an easy one to recognize, the general with the big mustache, whose name I don't know, the general with the squinty eyes, whose name I don't know. I've been watching this long, but then so many of them are so similar, or they only showed up in an episode here or there, that I'm like, I have not memorized their names yet. Yeah, he does have a bit of a generic look to him. And I like what they did with him getting the gun as a Christmas present from his daughter, his family leaving. It was a good way of humanizing the villain. It was a good, I don't know, it didn't seem over the top, but it was a good way to make your audience see the villain, not just as some random puppet for Tanya to kill, but as a human. And the one dude, what was it? The guy that gave him the gun was like, oh yeah, it's the newest model SMG, but I don't know about you. It looked like a rifle to me. But either way, that's just sort of nitpicking or whatever. But yeah, also very weird that his daughter's like, yeah, go fight for your country, gives him the rifle and leave. It's like, well, okay. He could have just left with you, but cool. So then we see the opening, and this is the second time we've seen the opening, and it's like, I like what they have been doing with not showing the opening and giving it a more cinematic style of opening to the episode each week, but it's an honestly really good opening. Not the best or anything, but it's a good opening, so I kind of wish we had seen it more. Then we have Tanya proposing to pull back the northern lines until spring, just to make them closer so that they can supply them more easily, and then in the spring they can attack, once they're all supplied up. Now, the guy in charge of the north is a shit strategist. He's just like, oh yeah, manly man, we need to keep attacking until we all die. So very, very much a not good strategy at all. And Tanya, I feel as though Tanya has been taking some notes from Troll God Being X, the way she just screwed with the guy and had all her side comments for him. And then she later brings up the issue to the big leader dude, who, again, the name I don't know, and I call him the leader dude because I think he might have a position higher than general, but I don't remember. Because the one dude with the squinty eyes that always talks to her, I'm pretty sure he's a general, and this guy I think is higher up than that. I have no idea their actual titles and stuff, except that Tanya is a major. And, of course, not one of my favorite things, but I absolutely loved how, where Tanya's so short, she was trying to point up at the board to point at the country. So freaking cute. And she actually figures out that they're trying to plan to attack by sea while the push is going on in the front lines. And since she figures that out, they decide to use her and her unit. Then we see Anson is at the fjord she's supposed to attack, and she has 30 minutes to capture it, or else the fleet will have to turn back and their sneak attack will no longer be a sneak attack, so it won't really work. Then when they're all dropping out of the plane, I really like the OST they use there, and it seemed like they did an interesting thing when they panned around Tanya. They use this sort of blending of the 3D and 2D style, and it looked really, really nice. Well, I feel like a full, just nothing but 2D would have looked better in my opinion, because I'm a bit of a hand-drawn purist. I really, really dislike CG and 3D animation. I think 99% of the time 3D or CG animation looks really, really shitty. So I would be a bit more open to it just being 2D, but this is the nicest I've seen it in anime, really, that I can remember. Because the other times I can remember, all of the full 3D CG anime that I've seen have, even if they've been pretty good story-wise, they have looked terrible. I have never seen it look anything but look at Berserk 27. Was it the 2016 version? Berserk looked horrible. It looked like a PS1 game, worse than a PS1 game cutscene. And then just the few times even that it's been used in, say, One Piece, it looked bad when it was used there. Or even, it looked horrible, like way, way back when I would actually watch Naruto. If they used CG, it looked horrible. It was terrible. But Youjo Senki actually did a pretty good job with it here. Later on, they had some CG that wasn't as good, but it looked good here. So then, basically, they start clearing out the fjord's artillery and the patrol boats, and then enemy mages come in response to them. Tanya sends out a company versus their battalion, because of course they can take them. They're the lame-ass ski mages, and lame-ass ski mages get fucked so hard. But Anson's like, no way, I won't pull back, even though everybody's dying around him. He sees Tanya alive and loses it, just charges in there. And then the guns finally get cleared out, so the fleet rolls in and just freaking destroys everything. And again, they used some CG blending there with the fleet coming in, and I don't think it looked as nice as it would have looked if it was 2D, but it looked actually not bad. And that's the best I can say for CG. As long as it looks not bad, it's noticeably not as good, but as long as it doesn't look terrible, I'm gonna give it a pass. So I think it was okay what they did there, and the port gets fucked to bits. Anson is still just left there. Tanya's like, screw it, we don't need to worry about this guy. And then we get, and probably the best fight yet, the fight between Anson and Tanya, even though it's hard to even call it a fight, it was just like kind of a one-shot. They have a really awesome OST that goes along with it though, and man, an absolute fucking is delivered to Anson. He is completely demolished, and Tanya just coldly kills him. I think I've met you before. Oh nice, a Christmas present for me, and takes his gun. Just so cool. And then we get the bad CG when and they only show it for a few seconds, and it's not horrible. It's not as bad as, say, it was in Naruto with all the war stuff, or in just a few times I've seen it for a full anime that's been nothing but CG. It wasn't as bad as that. But you could notice when they had the soldiers like running into the port or whatever, their like feet weren't even like properly connected to the ground. It was just like the flat background with these soldiers running in place in front of it, and it looked pretty bad. But either way, like I said, it was only for a few seconds, and it looked okay earlier. I would have preferred them to just stick to 2D. Hell, they could have used, for those few seconds, they could have used a still frame if they wanted to, honestly, since it was something as unimportant as that. But either way, whatever. Then pretty much we find out that the Entente is boned. They are completely boned. The Empire has taken their railroads, and now they can attack from both sides. Then we get the ending, and of course every week I love the ending. Youjo Senki's ending is awesome. And then the after credit scene, we have the United States of Arkansas, I believe it was. I laughed pretty hard at that, that's what they've changed the magical US to, were the United States of Arkansas. Just like we have magical Sweden is the Entente that got pretty fucked. I believe the Republic is Magic France, right? And then I forget what Britain is. Britain is Magic something. And I think, isn't Tanya's place the Empire? Is that what they called it? The something Empire? And that would make them the Magic Germany. Okay, so I wonder what magic Dakia was then. Oh well, either way. So moving on from there, what else did we have? Oh yeah, we see Mary and her mom listening to the reports, and pretty much just hearing that Entente was completely fucked. The capital has been taken over, and they're donezo. The capital's been occupied, and they're expecting surrender any day now, essentially. So they got out of that side of the whole World War issue pretty easily. I mean, I feel like it would have been much harder if their allies actually came in and tried to stop this heavy boning from going down, but it's whatever. But either way, for the episode as a whole beginning, I really like the strategy talks, and it did seem well thought out. I like the strategy talks here, and just Tanya's character is just so cute. Then when it came to the action scene and actually attacking the fjord, not even just with Tanya, but the stuff with all of her little side commanders like Weiss and the others or whatever, or Victoria taking the shot at Anson, I believe it was. All of those scenes looked really nice, and it was definitely the most exciting and well choreographed action sequence that I think we've had thus far. Just them wrecking the artillery and the lame-ass ski mages. Then, when it comes to animation and music, the OST was on fire this week. The animation looked really nice. There were a few issues with some CG thrown in there. But like I said, it honestly didn't look bad. Especially for CG and anime, it didn't look bad. I really, really liked it. I definitely don't feel like it deserves a perfect score, but I do think it's my favorite episode of the show so far. Now, this one's going to be a bit harder to score as well, because I don't know if I say that this is my favorite, but I don't know if I've given a higher score than this to another episode of this yet or not. I want to give it a solid 9. I was thinking about a little bit higher, maybe even close to 9.5, but I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. 9 absolute fuckings out of 10. 9 Christmas present submachine gun, but it looks like a rifle out of 10 presents. Oh man, that was a bit of a reach. But either way, I hope you guys did like the video. Oh god, I feel like I spit. Did you guys see any of that? But yeah, either way, like if you did like the video, comment down there. Tell me what you thought of this episode and what you thought of my thoughts on it. Anything you want to discuss about Youjo Senki. I think that you taking that break was pretty good. This was a very solid episode. Then what else we got? Subscribe for more Youjo Senki, Little Witch Academia, Demi-chan Mukatari Tai, Kobayashi-san Chido Maid Dragon, and a ton of other things that are manga or light novels, stuff that aren't necessarily anime on the channel. Also follow on Twitter if you want. I'll try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. That's it. So thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.